Right, yeah, let's smash it. Go live.
Absolutely.
You're live, says YouTube. Hello, interwebs. I'm decided to stretch right as I hit start streaming because when you gotta stretch, you gotta stretch. Look at this slacker being late. No, you.
Good afternoon. I decided to stretch just as I hit go live, and when you have to stretch, you just have to stretch. I'm Caradog.
Got him. Thank you very much, Chris Kingan, for the $10. I much appreciate you, dude. How you doing? Let's start this off, gents. Indeed. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Wait, does this mean I have to continue last week's trend of having a terrible joke as well?
I don't know. Is anyone asking for that?
Wow, rude.
Yeah.
God.
My heckin' fringe is being rude right now, and so I've got to.
No, you're doing it.
I want this hair gone. I want this hair gone, man.
Delta fan.
No. No. As soon as the barbers are back open, I'm walking in there and I'm saying grade 8 all over. Like no scissor cuts, just grade 8. Just buzz it off, man. I'm done with this hair. I'm done. Like now and then someone makes a hair comment and just like, oh, sort out your hair, and I'm just like, this isn't a choice. This is not a choice. Ugh. What's up, Noah? You've been having fun on Hades? Yeah, it's a banging one. Andrew, how's it going, my dude? Sai hates the lockdown here as well. Yeah. Anyway, how's it going? It's going all right. I've had a reasonably chill day that has consisted mostly of standing in front of my heater going, oh. But yeah.
Have you considered outdoor clothing? Like, just dressing up as though it's winter.
I hate wearing a coat indoors, but I keep the weatherman says that the cold snap is coming to an end, and I'm just like, the warmer weather is coming. It's coming. Meanwhile, today I feel like I don't know if you've ever seen any gameplay of Frostpunk, but I feel like you're in the moment where the temperature is plummeting and all of the people are starting to die of hypothermia, and the music is getting very serious, Thermal underwear. I should have done it, man. I said I was going to, and I didn't. Lockdown here, now wearing a cap. I nearly did the same thing, Nutty Techie. Nearly did. Beard trimmer works well on the hair. Do I look like I have a beard trimmer? No, my beard trimmer is a pair of nail scissors, and every now and then I do this. I get the end of it like that, and I just go, and just trim off the end of it. True story. It's snowing in Yeovil. It's trying to snow over on my neck of the woods. Let's see.
I don't feel like that's a particularly efficient way of doing that.
Do you have a beard trimmer?
Yes.
Oh. Okay then.
That's why it's all nicely trimmed and reasonably uniform in length.
Fair enough. Well then. Well, there's a question for Caradog in the chat. Do you know the actor Yul Brynner was a lifelong Liverpool fan and never wore aftershave? I'm not sure why that's aimed specifically at you.
Right, you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Caradog got it. That I was just r/whoosh on that one. So I am now the victim of this joke.
You whooshed so hard.
Yeah.
That it could have been a 747.
Oof. Well, I'm going to go back to the chat and find something to recover on now.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Go and get the cat now. Right. Love the new video about the RAM on the Mobo. A mate of yours has an ASRock B450 with weird RAM issues. Corsair RAM wouldn't work. After a firmware update, only A1 and A2 would work. Yeah, man. This isn't necessarily unique to ASRock or ASRock. I'll say ASRock, just so I'm not saying ass or whatever. This isn't unique to ASRock. it's just I've seen it a lot on ASRock, and one of the reasons why I always jump to it is, Andrew Jackson in the chat and Caradog, we both remember where the last time we were dealing with RAM issues on ASRock motherboards, which is why we have horror stories about that, or just one particular horror story that's just stuck with us, and I'm still not over it, which is why, yeah, to be honest, I've seen memory issues on all brands, so it's just the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I think there were two objectives to that video. Number one was to recognise that a rain dance isn't a fix, and you need to do something that is permanent. But also number two, the reason why I demonstrated the rain dance in the first place is that sometimes there isn't a real fix, and the rain dance is all you've got. So I kind of wanted to demonstrate what the rain dance actually looks like, just so it might help someone get a workaround that will just get them back to work, kind of thing. So
yeah, basically.
But yeah, you told him to send it back and get a different one. Yeah, that's a solution, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had one of my more popular videos, which is not really my best because of various reasons, but one of the more popular videos was the couple of videos I did about the Gigabyte Aorus B450 Aorus M, which I had a multitude of issues with, some of which were RAM related. And yeah, ultimately,
that motherboard was shockingly weird.
Yeah, and that's it wasn't just me either, because there were so many people in the comments describing very, very similar issues with that same board. Even one of the issues I didn't actually mention in the video because I thought it was just a really random quirk on mine, and I was like, I'm not going to bother mentioning this because there's no way someone else is experiencing this same issue. And that was that if you unplug it, I'd unplug the computer from the wall, carry it to the other side of the room and plug it in over there, and the BIOS would reset. And you think, oh, it's a bad CMOS battery, right? No, CMOS battery was fine. Nothing wrong with it. It just reset the BIOS if you unplug it from the power supply. And I thought that was just mine. But again, in the comments, there were loads of people that described exactly the same issue. And I was like, hey, wow, I had that issue too. It wasn't just me. And yeah, in the end, I just got shot of that motherboard as soon as I could. I had managed to budget into a position where it was working consistently, and then I basically just I shoved it into an office box, which would obviously not exactly stress it in any possible way or form. Got rid of it as soon as I could.
Yeah, I had that issue with my I've forgotten what I have now. The X570 Master Elite Pro Extra
Aorus Master
something.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what it is. I had that with one of the specific beta buses. And yeah, just one of those specific beta buses. Every time it lost power, it cleared CMOS. And I was just like, okay, whatever. But it's a beta bus. What do you expect?
Yeah.
That's just kind of stuff happens.
Hello, Noel. How's it going? See Wayne Lucia's question. Yeah, that's possibly a simple one, actually. Wayne Lucia says, or Lucia, sorry. Graham or Carol, any ideas for why my hard disk drive got disabled when I installed my second SSD? Depends what kind of SSD. If you put in a second M.2 SSD, and that was a SATA-based M.2 SSD with 2 notches in the connector, that will disable one of your actual SATA connectors on the motherboard. And if that's where your other hard drive is connected, that would explain why your hard drive disappeared. Not quite enough information to give a perfectly straight answer on that. That's just a possibility. But also, I have SATA's weird, man. Just sometimes you just have to try plugging drives into different places to find a combination that works. I've seen it on computers. As soon as you have more than 2 or 3 drives in there, SATA just gets sketchy. It's one of the reasons why I'm not really interested in motherboards that have got a million SATA connectors, because I'm like, man, a lot of consumer boards seem to have issues with more than 2 drives in them. So yeah, I'd never be connecting more than 3 absolute tops. It just seems to lead into problems. And that's not a hard absolutely never do this, but just That seems to be where the problems start.
Yeah, and I think it's a case of double check the manual for your specific motherboard and double check which ports it says will be disabled when you have more than one M.2 SSDs in there, and
Yeah.
use other ports. If you
Yeah.
can't use other ports because you have too many drives, possibly consider getting larger capacity drives.
The
Or if
motherboard.
you're already using like 18 terabyte drives, maybe you actually need a file server.
Yeah. By the sounds of things, there's only 3 drives involved here, so it's kind of a bit soon to be having issues like this. But
Well,
just
unless you're plugged into ports 5 and 6, you
Yeah.
put in 2 SSDs, it
Yeah,
takes
exactly.
out ports 5 and 6. So yeah.
Yeah, you've got an NVMe card and a standard M2 SSD. So by standard M.2, I'm guessing you mean a SATA-based one. Again, remembering that. Hang on a sec. I've got examples.
M.2,
I'm just going to grab
yeah.
examples.
I was going to say, to the fact that M.2 is a connector type, or is a category of connectors and not a connection technology.
As luck would have it, I've got both of them in front of me, so I can literally just hold them up and say, here's the difference. So this is... Hang on a sec, let me adjust the focus. Whoop.
Suddenly focusing on head of pin.
Whoop. Oh, that's way too close. This is an NVMe SSD. Notice that it has one notch in it, the M key. So that's a Western Digital Blue, just for reference. So that's an NVMe M.2 SSD. And if I open up this heckin' packet here, and this one, this is also M.2, but it has a SATA controller on it. And notice it has the B key, so it has both keys on it. So this is a SATA-based M.2 drive. It's a SATA SSD with an M.2 connector on it. And so the two behave very differently. So your NVMe drive, this guy goes across the PCI Express lanes directly into either the CPU or the PCH. Whereas this guy, because it's a Serial ATA device, this guy gets plumbed through to the Serial ATA controller. And when you connect one of these to your computer, it takes up one of the Serial ATA channels, and thus one of the Serial ATA ports on the motherboard will get disabled in order to have that channel go to your SATA-based M.2 SSD. It's a heckin' confusing mess, and it catches a lot of people out.
Yeah, and it's basically a case of use different SATA ports on your motherboard. Issue should then magically
that's right.
resolve.
Generally speaking, these days, I advise that people don't buy the SATA-based M.2 drives, just simply because NVMe drives are probably only like 10 or 20 pounds or dollars more, so you may as well get the newer standard. However,
It's
there's
still that much.
well, yeah, if that. I'm guessing high just to be sure. However, that much being said, the SATA-based ones, they're not as quick. These will still top out at 500 megs per second, as opposed to NVMe, which these days will be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 megs per second. But for a typical gaming rig, there's still nothing inherently wrong with these. They're not as quick, but they're fine. They're absolutely fine. But as I say, because of that rule of SATA ports, there is those little traps there that you won't get from an NVMe drive. But yeah, just watch out where you've got things plugged into, basically. And as Caradog said, consult your motherboard, because your motherboard manual, when you look at the M.2 connectors in the motherboard manual, it will have a specific note that specifically points this out. So
Interestingly, for the Western Digital Blue, in US dollars, they are the same price. Literally the same price.
There
so
we go.
It's almost... So it's, getting very much towards the point where the prices will be identical, and it's not worth it to buy a SATA one for
It depends.
any reason.
Yeah, now and then I see people who've gone and bought something, and when I'm just like, oh, you should have got X, and they're like, oh, I got this on sale, and they just found a lightning deal or something like that, and it was just really cheap.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
Like, fine, okay.
When it's like 25% off from standard sale price, the advice kind of goes out the window. It's like, yeah, you're saving like 25%. That's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Are those DC to DC Pico PSUs any good? What are the purpose of them? I haven't seen them used for quite a long time. The old Pico PSU, that's been around for donkey's years, and they were originally used when the Nano ITX standard first started becoming a thing, because there were a load of people who were running around making in-car PCs with them. And the idea is that you could fit one of these into your glove box, stick a Pico PSU in it, and run it off the car battery because it's a DC-DC power supply.
No, Pico ITX.
Sorry. The
Nano
ITX motherboard, but the power supply was called a Pico PSU. That was the model name of it.
Yes, there is Pico ITX, which is 72 millimeters by 100 millimeters.
Oh god, that's a thing as well. Oof.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you want to go a stage further. Apparently, there's mobile ITX for when you need to fit something in the size of a postage stamp.
It's not really any kind of TX at that point, is it? But you probably have. But
no.
Yeah.
The 24-pin connector on it will be half the length of the board, won't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
In any case, though, yeah, as I say, that where I saw them used heavily was people running around making in-car PCs. That's more or less the only time I've seen them used. For anything else, like Flex ATX has been around for just as long, because Flex ATX was what they were using in the old Shuttle PCs, the Shuttle XPC series and stuff like that. And Flex ATX was also heavily used in other small form factor and server instances. And like if you were building anything that would go on a desk, Flex ATX made a lot more sense, because obviously at that point you didn't need a power brick for it. So yeah, the Pico PSU, really interesting little device, but like really niche uses, very specific use cases for it. If you needed one, it was, but for everyone else, they were just like, but why though, you know? So yeah,
I still can't believe that like the Flex ATX and whatever the other size is, the really small one that's like half Flex ATX size, can go up to like 700, 800 watts these days.
Modern switching power supplies are nuts, man.
Just like
absolutely bonkers.
This is close to utterly mind-boggling for me.
Before I continue on that, I'm just going to quickly say thank you to Spud Nugget for the $5. Thank you very much, dude. How's it going? And Nvme Ssd for the $5. Thank you very much again. Can't send as much this time. Just spent a lot on gold and silver. Yeah. Well, thank you anyway. You're always appreciated. Much love.
I legitimately read that as a lot on goldfish initially. I was just like, not sure if talking about the baked snack or we're talking about the animal. Oh no, we're talking about bullion. Never mind. Good job. Oh dear.
1,000-watt flex is common. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will have like two 40mm Delta fans on it though, so you can't use it at home. But yes, it is very much an enterprise thing.
That's true. Because I was one of the things that put me off, like in recent history, I've always been of the mindset of I don't like small form factor. I've been there and done it on like 2 occasions. I'm done with small form factor. But the thing is that these days a lot of the limiting factors just aren't there anymore. The 2 big things I hated about SFF was you had to work with low wattage power supplies, which was just an instant ceiling on how much you could cram into the box, and PCI Express riser cables were really difficult to find at one point when they were new. You know, when at one point when I was building my one, I had to import one from America at great expense. You know, and so that without a PCI Express riser cable, you were limited to like half-height graphics or onboard graphics. So it was just really limiting. And when someone said that they were going to build small form factor, I was like, just build micro ATX instead. But these days, like with the modern small form factor power supplies and PCI Express riser cables being all over the place, you can do a huge amount in a small space now. You know, it's still not my cup of tea, but I can see the appeal.
You can get supposedly ratified PCI Express 4 extender cables now. And like they're just on Amazon and stuff. And it's like, here, spend 50 quid and have a PCI Express 4 by 16 riser card. I'm just like, okay.
Fair enough. Not sure why you want to extend a 4x slot, but I'm sure there's some.
No. Gen 4 PCI
Gen
Express
4.
Gen 4.
Yeah.
16.
Yes, that would need to be ratified for Gen 4, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I'm just like, fair enough.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to just be kind of a case of ta-da, Amazon. So yeah.
Fair enough.
That's cool.
Have I done the Windows 10 Enterprise bare bones Windows install? No, haven't had a chance to get into it yet. I'm afraid it's still on the back burner. I would say I'd say I haven't forgotten about it, but I kind of have because it keeps slipping my mind. But that's a video that requires me to sort of sit down and do a thing, and I just do not have enough hours in the day at the moment. But I still want to make the video though, which is the important thing there. Alan Long, you having all them components on the wall has encouraged me to mount my old 990 FX Extreme 9. Can't bring myself to box it and put it in the loft. It looks so nice. Yeah, well, it's better than it being in a box, isn't it? And yeah, I agree with that. Nail it to the wall, then you can sit and look at it. And even the old stuff still looks pretty. So yeah, rad.
Absolutely, especially stuff it's odd shapes or odd, that isn't just standard rectangular ATX.
Everyone asks about the round one. Everyone wants to know where the round one is from. Internet cookies for anyone in chat who guesses it or who knows it.
Oh, I think it is from Internet Cookies.
No,
it is actually just.
It is actually an internet cookie. Yeah. I 3D printed an internet cookie. Let's see. Nutty Tetky, don't ask NZXT about riser cables. Oof.
I mean, I hear they're a really hot topic. They're currently on a fire sale.
Yeah, there's it's been an electrifying subject. GPU repairs when? Soon. I want to get into GPU repairs. I've got a couple of candidate GPUs to practice on, but just at some point. Yeah, soon TM. Yeah, iMac G4. You guys all got it right. Good job. No, it's not a trash can. Very different animal, that one.
Oh, I see. Not actually a trash can. Yes.
Yes.
Why would there be a
trash can
in a trash can? But no, the Mac Pro. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. What advice would you give someone who wants to start their own computer technician service? Depends on where you're starting from. And also where you want to go with it, because there are kind of two routes you can go down. There's the get a shop route and the work from home route. So firstly, if you're going down the work from home route, don't quit your day job. I would say I would do it as a part-time money on the side deal, and I would start by sort of put together some nice branding for like Twitter and a Facebook page. Some nice smart looking things, and just advertise your services basically, and advertise pickup, collection and return of computers and that kind of thing. And then just basically work off the side, and if it's starting to get to the point where you reckon you can make enough money to get by on it, then you quit your day job at that point. Then if you're going down the shop route, location basically. My advice is you need to find somewhere that is dirt cheap but accessible. Visibility is key. People need to know you're there, and that means being on or just off of the high street, basically. So you need to find a high street and be either on it or just off the side of it where people will still see you, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and then you can operate on the build it and they will come policy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a case of it's amazing how little space you can get away with.
Yeah, like the shop that I'm in, that I am moving out of, is tiny. It is more or less a converted garage. So, you know, like single car garage kind of thing. It's slightly bigger than that, but it may as well be a converted single car garage. You don't need much space when you're starting out. And this shop has got me, I've been in this shop for 10 years, you know, so even though I'm moving to bigger space now, I got this far on it, you know. So
exactly. It's a case that you can do an awful lot of volume in actually a very small space.
Yeah.
Part of it is just, you know, making sure you're actually efficiently using that space.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that's the main thing there, is that's about it. And also, like, be prepared to have to fork out for the things you need. Because for a long time I was really resistant to buying stuff ahead, like buying stuff for stock, for parts, or like laptop chargers and things like that, and I would just buy stuff when I needed it. And even though it was often stuff that I would be buying on a regular basis, the trick is to look at what you're needing, and then every time you have to buy one, buy two of them so you have rolling stock. So like, for example, laptop chargers, but every time someone comes in and they say, I've got this HP, I need a charger for it, you buy two of that charger. You sell one to the customer and you put one on the wall. And then the next time a customer comes in who needs that charger, you sell them the one on the wall and you immediately order another one. So that one will then come back into stock again. And that kind of gives you rolling stock with minimal upfront investment. And same with SSDs and stuff like that. Keep them in stock. It really stings when you have to fork out 400 quid for 4 1 terabyte SSDs to keep in stock. However, you'll use them up eventually. You'll make that money back.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you've got to make that call on. Yeah, if it's stuff you know you're going to use up eventually, then keep it in stock.
And there's certainly going to be a case where someone says, I need this up and running for tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, well, it's an extra $100 to knock everything off of the bench, but I can have it done for tomorrow because the parts are in stock.
Yeah, exactly that. Don't be afraid to sort of make demands like that. You know, if someone comes in and it's mission critical, you can say, well, this is going to cost you extra. However, as long as you're upfront with people on that, it's fine, basically. The thing is communication and being open and upfront is the important thing. If you deceive people and if you sort of you try and you don't tell them stuff because you're hoping they won't notice something, that's when you start getting into a web of lies. Where if you just say to someone, I'm going to charge extra for this because you want it done ASAP. And then at that point, it's their decision whether to accept that charge or find someone else who can do it tomorrow. So
yeah.
So yeah, pretty much that.
It's possibly also the other thing I'd say is make sure you've got your terms of business worked out before things go wrong.
Yes, that
Work out if someone says, I want you to do this job, and then they don't come back for it. What terms are you going to have? What terms are you going to tell people how long you're going to keep their stuff for without contact?
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do if someone says, I want you to build this custom thing for me, and then never actually pays? What are you going to do in those situations? And work that out beforehand so you can tell people, and then if it happens, you've already told them there's no comeback.
I have been stung by those issues a couple of times, and it's taken me too long to learn from that. So yeah, that is very good advice. And yeah, and on that note, don't be afraid to charge up front if there is a possibility of you losing money on it. My policy is that if I don't charge up front if I have the customer's device, because the device is held as collateral. If they turn around and go, oh, I can't pay for this, I'll pay for it next week. You say, cool, I'll see you next week then, as in pick it up next week. And I think I might have told this story before on stream. I can't remember, but I had a kid who brought his laptop in for a replacement screen, and I replaced the screen. And he came in to pick it up, and he said, "Oh, I don't have the money right now. Can I pay you on Friday?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I put the laptop back under the counter again. And he's like, "Oh, could I pick it up now?" And I'm like, "It's payment on collection. You can pick it up as soon as you pay for it." And he's like, "I really need the laptop." And I'm like, "And I really need to pay my rent." I said that to him. I said, "And I really need to pay my rent." You know, as in, yeah, sure. As soon as you pay me, you get your laptop back. And of course, this all rides on the proviso of, or I can take out the display that I have purchased, put the broken one back in, and you can take it somewhere else. And that, I've had someone call me on that one before as well. You know, you need, if you're going to also be prepared for that situation, because I have had someone who've been like, "Yeah, no, I'm out. I just want my device back." And I'm like, "Okay, give me, you know, and come back later on, and it will be ready for collection." And I have then taken out the new parts, put the broken parts back in, reassembled it exactly as it was when it came in, and given it back to them. And then, you know, you're still lumped with the parts, but yeah, sometimes someone will call your bluff and you have to get petty. But that was kind of, that doesn't happen very often. Most people are not that petty, but be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And as Caradog said, if you have a policy in place for this, you know, then you could say to people, these are the terms that you agree to when you booked your device in for repair.
The other good thing, the thing to remember is you can write and have really strict, really punitive terms that people agree to when they get a repair done with you or engage your services, but you can never enforce those terms.
Yeah.
That is a situation that you can operate in.
Yeah.
Whilst it's arguably, if things go completely wrong, there may become difficulties, technically. At the same time, if those terms are there and the person agrees to them and you then enforce them, the arrangement that you have with someone else doesn't prejudice that arrangement with that person. Just because I'm enforcing these rules with customer A doesn't mean I have to enforce them with customer B. They may have provided me with some mitigating collateral.
Yeah.
The customer A does not know that.
Yeah, agreed. Because that's exactly the same kind of policy that I operate on in communities as well. You know, like in any kind, like for example, take the Discord server, for example. The Discord server rules basically state that I can kick anyone from the Discord server at any time for no reason, just because I don't like their face. This is not a democracy, you know.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to do that. It would be a dick move to do that, but I have reserved the right to do that if I want to. So when someone turns around and goes, "Oh, I haven't technically broken any rules," I can be like, "No, I don't like you. Get out." You know, You don't have to enforce the rules just because you've put them in place. And it's the same here. It's better to have strict rules that you don't enforce than weak rules that don't actually protect you in your moment of need, basically. Yeah. Exactly, Ben Lay, thank you for the thank you for the £5 super chat there, by the way. Much appreciated. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, make sure your terms are in line with the laws in your area. So, yeah, again, while we are saying have strict rules, you do actually need to make sure those rules are actually legal as well. So, yeah, you may have to consider looking up what the actual laws are.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Don't forget that with a contract, it is still possible for someone to sign away rights and privileges that they have in law. It just depends on which ones they are.
Yeah.
You know, you can reasonably sign away certain rights, reasonably sign away certain callbacks. Like, for example, class action lawsuits. It is correct and proper that you can sign away that right to a class action lawsuit in certain jurisdictions. But a class action lawsuit is something you have a legal right to, but you can sign it away in certain circumstances. So it's a case of just because the law says you have to do something, or you have to, you know, perform in a specific fashion, doesn't mean that you have to do that if people are contractually willing to do different terms. You just have to ensure that the other terms you're doing would be considered fair and reasonable if it ever went to court. Again, this is speaking from a UK perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. It's a case of, yeah, you need to have rules that will actually cover you, but yeah, that's the problem. Is reasonable is a broad term, but I think anyone with their head screwed on straight can define what reasonable is. You could, and the general gist is to. Most of it just comes down to a communication factor. Again, it's a case of your rules need to stipulate, what the reasonable turn. You need to say that you've had an agreement about what the expected turnaround time is, when it is expected that the customer will come and get their computer, how long you are expected to take care of the device if you have lost contact with the customer, and so on. And yeah, I mean, that's a classic one because, again, I have got devices in my care that I have been sitting on for literally years because someone mentioned, well, do I have written rules? Actually, only recently I've actually started enforcing stuff. For a very long time, I just had not gotten round to it because 99 times out of 100, it will never be an issue. However, if 99 times out of 100 it's not an issue, one time out of 100 you will end up with a device where you're sitting on it, you have lost contact with the customer, and you've now got this device where you're just like, what do I do now? I can't get rid of this because this isn't mine. What do I do with it now? And you kind of just have to sit on it. And in that particular instance, the UK law is 6 months, basically. If you have made this is not legal advice, if you have made all reasonable efforts to contact the customer and they have not gotten back to you within 6 months, you can then dispose of the device. However, you don't really want it to be that long, really. But yeah. However, but the other thing as well is that if you do actually dispose of a device and then a customer comes back to you 12 months later, they're still going to be pissed, and you're going to have to turn around and be like, you ghosted me for 6 months. What did you think I was going to do? And at that point, ideally, you want a written bit of paper to say, we agreed on this. I told you you needed to come and get it within 2 months, and you did not come back to me within 2 months. We have an agreement here. You don't want to have to lean on the law, but yeah.
What I would say would be quite good is a good way of branding it as well, is having it as some sort of booking sheet. So on one side, you've got the booking sheet that says the device that's booked in, who the client is, who the customer is, what they have said the fault description is, how long you think it's going to take. On the reverse, your terms.
Yeah. This is actually
A4 sheet given to them, and it's got your logo on there, your telephone number, your email address, your Facebook page, whatever. So it's also marketing material. Yeah,
this is the system that I'm moving to because it's actually the one that I used to use in shops that I used to work in before I had my own place, and I kind of never bothered instigating it there. However, these days I can think of a slicker way of doing that than we used to, that doesn't have the handwritten annoyances in it, because I hate handwritten notes, which is why I didn't want to do it. However, now I can have a nice formatted form there that I can type into. Then I can just print it out as typed up notes, and then just say to the customer, if you could just sign the back of it, there's the terms and conditions, if you could just sign at the bottom to say you've agreed to those, and etc, etc. And likewise, when I would do that, you'd say, if you could sign at the bottom of these terms and conditions, which state when we expect you to come and get the device back, etc, etc. And you imply that you're agreeing to pick up times and stuff like that. You can read them if you want, So yeah. And also, just an interesting as well, Chris Kingan just said sort of dispose equals eBay, and it's like, absolutely I agree, but you always tell the customer dispose. Because if you say to the customer, I sold it or I kept it, then they might turn around and go, well, you better unsell it then because I want it back. However, if you say to the customer, it has been disposed of, that means it's gone. It ain't coming back. Sort of thing. Exactly. So regardless of what you've actually done with it, you tell them that it's gone. It's disposed of. It's gone. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200.
Yeah, basically.
So yeah. you're getting an app made for it. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Yeah. Although remember, if you're getting an app made for stuff like that, just be mindful of how you're storing customer data as well, because certainly if you're in Europe, you stray into the realm of GDPR, or as it used to be known as data protection, where you have a due responsibility to store customer information in a secure manner.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yes.
But of course, that's another minefield. Ask their address. Yeah. It depends.
It's slightly. All of this is based on the fact that you're assuming that you're dealing with an individual that is, a home user with their laptop or what have you. When you're doing business to business stuff, it becomes a bit different, because certainly in the UK, at least, the legal protections that a business has is much, much lower. So you can kind of basically just turn around and go tough in basically every situation. If it's business to business, it's just like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although interestingly, I tend to, when someone comes in and they say, oh, it's for ABC Plumbing or something like that, I still get the contact name and number for a person with that company. And if they're just like sort of, oh, it's the business, I'm going to say, well, can I have your name? Who is my point of contact? Basically, I want an individual who I can say, this is the person that brought me this device. This is the person who I'm expecting to handle this. Because otherwise, there's always that possibility that you'll call them up and they'll be like, we don't know what you're talking about. So you always want the ability to say, it was Karen who brought in the laptop. Karen knows what this is about. And then again, you've had that, and if they say we don't know who Karen is, you can say, well, that's who they said it is. I've made due care to contact you guys now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Would you do business? See, Treb, you say, would you do business with them if they ghosted you? Actually, that's an interesting thing, because that ad actually came up this month, where I did actually have a business ghost me after I built a computer for them. Luckily, it was only a cheap office box, like 300 quid. Or no, there was about £400 worth of stuff, because there was a cheap office box, a couple of monitors, keyboard and mouse kind of thing. And they ghosted me on it, and I got lumped with the computer because, like a tomfool, I didn't take money down. It was one of those, the one moment I didn't take a deposit, because I was like, this is a quick and easy one, let's just knock this out the door and just smash the parts on order. And they ghosted me on it. I got my money back because I just sold everything off eventually. However, they actually contacted me and they said, oh, we still want the computer. And I was gearing up to tell them where to go. And I was like, well, you ordered one and then you never paid for it. And I had to try and scrape my money back on that. And they said, yeah, that was handled by whatever her name was, Karen, for argument's sake. She doesn't work here anymore. And I was like, okay. So I said, yes, okay, I will do business with you, but it will be money up front, So yeah, I would do business with someone who's ghosted me, but it will be money up front. And so if you ghost me again, I will keep your money. Remember, everyone, deposits are not refundable unless you have broken your side of the contract, because the deposit is a promise to pay. It is not a reservation. It is a promise to pay.
Yeah.
And the deposit is itself the collateral of that promise.
Absolutely. And it's important to reiterate that to people, just because people don't view it in that fashion.
Yeah.
So you need to be very explicitly clear.
Yeah, lots of people think that they can just cancel something and get their deposit back. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
Absolutely. I think, and I think it obviously in some of the case that obviously the cases where people are doing that is it's reasonably large companies, and the reason why they're cancelling it is probably because the other company is actually unable to do it in the timescale that they have offered. So it's kind of a case of that's why there's a return on it and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because actually the other party has technically broken the terms they agreed to,
Yeah.
but you're the one who's ending the arrangement. So it creates this bad idea in their head, kind of, as to how it's working.
Yeah.
Just because people have kind of failed to notice which side is failing to deliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say usually for deposits, it'd be like 50% of the parts cost.
Yeah, I usually take half the money up front within reason, half of it or around it. I usually make it up on the spot for what I think is appropriate for the job. You know, like if it's like a if we're building a computer that is like £1,450, I'll probably say give me 500 quid up front, because you know, like if they ghost me, I've still got all of the parts and £500. I'm not going to lose out in that situation, you know.
Yeah.
So the deposit just has to be enough money that you will either A, benefit from them breaking the contract, or B, you won't lose out, and that they are invested enough to not want to ghost you. So
yeah, exactly. It's also a case of, I'd imagine, sort of on the flip side, if someone says, oh, can you do an SSD upgrade? You're probably not going to ask for the money up front, because you're going to have a part in stock. Or if not, you're going to be ordering SSDs basically every day anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a case of it's not an item that's going to sit around.
Yeah, exactly. And plus,
it's a case of just certain items like that, or if they're like, oh, can you just buy me a cheap £20 keyboard and mouse set? You're probably not going to take a deposit on that. You're just going to take the full payment.
Yeah, and it's up to, agreed. And I will do that. It depends on how likely I think I am to be able to reuse or resell that part. Often when it's cables, when someone comes in and they say, oh, I need a insert weird monitor cable here. And I'm like, I don't have one of those, but I can order one for you. And they turn around and go, oh, yeah, I kind of need it today. And I'm like, well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to order one anyway, because I think that's a useful cable that I want to have in stock. So I have put one on order. I will have it on this day. If you've not found one by then, come and see me and I'll have one. And that's usually how I handle that. And then they'll either come back and they buy it, or the next time someone comes in and they need that cable, I've got one on hand. However, of course, again, you have to make that decision on how likely you think that cable is to, or that item is to be used. If it's a really bizarre adapter where you're just like, no one needs this adapter, then yeah, you take money up front on that. So yeah, that experience tells you how to play that game. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Interesting question that has come up that I just want to quickly go over to. Blake MC says, I upgraded from a FX 8350 to a Ryzen 3600 for side external live streaming rig. However, I'm looking to upgrade the GPU from a 962 gig, and you're paying for scalp prices. Any advice? Are you sure you need to upgrade that? And the reason why I say that is that that's a 962 gigabytes. And that's the one that I'm using. All my videos and this live stream all getting encoded on a 962 gig. Are you sure you actually need to upgrade that? The FX 8350, yeah, absolutely. That thing's a potato. Get rid of that. And don't get me wrong, that's not a fast graphics card, but all it's got to do is NVENC. And on the assumption that you're working at 1080p, yeah, I would question whether you actually need to replace it or not. And if it's just a matter of you want to replace it just because you want new shiny, then I would sit tight. I would wait this out because you don't need to replace it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, if you are dead set on replacing that anyway, because you're just like, no, I want a new graphics card. You know, this is not up for debate kind of thing. Or let's pretend that there were no shortages. I would be looking for, I would probably want to replace it with something like a 1660, because the 1660 has the Turing NVENC encoder on it. Sorry, not Turing. Turing. Yeah, the 20 series NVENC encoder on it. So that gives you something that doesn't cost the earth for something that you're not actually playing games on, but actually has an encoder that is 2 generations newer than the one on the 960. Where if you go to anything newer than that, you're not really going to notice the difference unless you go up to, and yeah, like going up to a 30 series is not viable at the moment because there's no low-end 30 card. So yeah,
but I was going to say, if this were a normal year with normal stock levels, it'd be a case of kind of something like the 3060. Just the flat 3060, which is launching apparently on the 25th.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that. That's what I'd be aiming at, would be the 3060, because it's got the newest NVMe encoder on there.
Yeah.
It's massively overkill for just video encoding and stuff, so you aren't going to really have any issues.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a case of you'll be able to handle a 4K input to it to, you know, mash around in transcode out. So yeah.
I think realistic, but yeah. So yeah, as I say, no numbers, no limit. 3060. Realistically, see if you can find a 1660. I mean, word on the wire is that Pascal is making a comeback, and the one that the card that we're probably going to see flying around will be the 1050 Ti, which that gives you an encoder that is 1 generation newer. But personally, I don't think that will be worth upgrading to as an encoder card from a 960, because the 960 4 gig and the 1050 Ti they kind of trade blows anyway. And so a 962 gigabyte for encoding, you're not going to see the difference, I don't think. So I would not be tempted to upgrade it unless you can go to a 1660 or a 3060.
The only situation I could kind of think of is if perhaps maybe the 10 series 1 allowed you to you got the like a 4K resolution support, whereas the 9 series 1 doesn't support 4K resolution or something like that. Just because whilst you might not necessarily be using and recording and streaming in 4K, it allows you to tile 4 1080p streams into a single 4K stream, which can be useful for getting full resolution out of 4 1080p cameras, but into a single video to edit kind of thing. So it's like, I'm not saying it's a good solution, I'm just saying if stuff like that is the case, then maybe, but it's not really particularly useful.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something I'd specifically go out of my way to buy, just because maybe, possibly, I would be looking for a bigger jump.
Yeah, so, you're trying to do a smoother 60 FPS local record. Yeah, again, it depends on what kind of bit rates you're going for. Because, again, like the Adamant IT videos, I record those at... Oh, I can't check now because I'm on a different profile for streaming. I record those at, I think, 18 megabits per second, 60 FPS. And realistically, you're going to need some freaking cracking camera. Well, you're going to need very good cameras or, maybe 20. But then the thing is, I'm fairly certain that a 962 gig can handle 20 megabit, 60 FPS, 1080p. So again, I think you should be able to manage that. Have you tried the 960 since upgrading to the Ryzen 3600? Because as I say, the change in CPU will make a colossal difference. Again,
and also going up from PCIe Gen 2.
Yeah, because again, people keep saying, "Oh, the FX CPUs were great." And it's like, no, they weren't. I had one; they were terrible. You know. So, yeah, that's that. All right, let's see. Right, I think that's about it. There was something else that I'd spotted and I can't see it now. But yeah. Oh well. Nvme Ssd with another $5. Thank you very much. So glad you didn't panic sell your 20 Ti like a schmuck. Man, the people who sold their 2080 Ti's for £500 or something, did they go down to $500?
Oof. The
I
biggest
mean,
of oofs.
like, who could have seen this coming? In all fairness, like, who could have seen this coming? But still, oh, ow, man, ow. And also,
it would be quite the thing, as you know, if you actually had it, and then you bought a 3080 to replace it, and then you'd sat on it until now, and basically over doubled the price of your 3080 with your 2080 Ti kind of thing.
You'd be
It's
laughing
like,
back to the bank,
what?
wouldn't you? Yeah. Oof. NA Ryan 76 cries in FX 6300. Your time will come, son. You will get that Ryzen, and it will be amazing. Trust me, I've been there and done that. Save up them pennies. Get yourself, even if you get like a 3600 or something like that, it'll change your world. The 3600's a cracking CPU. We interrupt this to announce that Tony Hiltunen has not subscribed, now has a membership. I don't know how to say this. YouTube memberships are now a thing. Has joined
the YouTube memberships.
Yes.
Yes.
At tier 1. You might be the first person, or you're just the first that I've spotted. Thank you very much. Welcome to the YouTube memberships. You can now become a YouTube member, and if the Discord integration has worked, you get access to the exclusive Discord room, which is where all the behind-the-scenes stuff for the new shop is getting posted. Those stuff will also appear in YouTube community posts as well, so you can also check community posts for that as well. And then Chris Kingan did the same thing. Welcome to Chris Kingan as well. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yes. YouTube memberships are live.
YouTube memberships are live. I'm trying not to shill too hard because I've done a lot of shilling recently.
You get a fancy name color now.
Do you get a fancy name? I haven't actually looked at what you get.
Yeah, if you're a member, you pop up in different colors, and also I think you can set.
You're green now, Tony.
In the background, we can set different colors for different tiers.
Ah, yes, cool. There is only a tier 1 at the moment. I don't want to offer multiple tiers when I'm not technically giving much as a reward per se. But at any rate, it's there. If you want to support, you can. Because I know there are some people who are just like, I want to support, but I really don't want to do the whole Patreon thing or Twitch thing or anything like that. So we're adding in multiple ways to support the channel, not because we're trying to take you for every penny you've got, but just because I want to make it so you can use whatever works for you. So yeah.
Absolutely. Although, however, if you did want to give every penny you had, it will be greatly received. But no, there's also still the fact of just going on about that if you have Amazon Prime and you use Twitch and you have a Prime subscription going unused, you can use it for free to give free support.
Give me your Primes. But yes.
Turn me into Optimus Prime.
Indeed. So glad your day 1 6800 XT pre-order went through. Literally next to nothing for the next 2.5 months. Yeah, like something that I didn't mention, but the video, the RAM video, the latest one where I was fiddling about with the RAM, that computer had a 3060 Ti in it, and when I at some point in the video I was waiting for it to reboot, and I picked up the card to look at it, and like it got cut from the video, but I picked up the card, checked the back of it, I was like, lucky bastard, kind of thing, you know, because he was one of the cheeky ones that got one.
See, I'm really annoyed that I put my order in for a 3060 Ti, and then for some reason my order wasn't shipped. Because my cards that I'd ordered got sold to someone else.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to my 5950X order that I put in through Scan. When I ordered a Ryzen 5950X as part of the bundle, it was in stock on the Scan website. Didn't say pre-order, it said in stock. And I hit buy, and magically, suddenly they didn't have it anymore. And I was like, well, it wasn't in stock then, was it? But yeah, I've still kept that order on the go, because when that shows up, you know, like if either I will find a use for a 5950X, or I will have a chip for sale that everyone wants to buy, and I will probably I'll make my money back on that, no problem. So
Absolutely. I'm just kind of sad that I didn't find any pre-orders whatsoever for 6800 XTs or 6900 XTs. I didn't find any at all. I couldn't
yeah,
even pre-order it anywhere. That's what makes me sad. Isn't the fact I
mm,
don't have one, it's the fact I didn't even have the opportunity to try and pre-order one.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just like,
And that
I
must be the worst. Chris Kingan just said he had a 3060 Ti in his cart 3 times on launch day and still didn't get one.
yeah.
Mm.
And it's just like, it's just, to me, it's just really, really annoying that I didn't even have the opportunity to pre-order because I really wanted one of the new AMD cards as well.
Yeah,
Because testing of stuff, there's stuff and things I
indeed.
needed
And
and wanted
plus,
to test on them.
the 6800 XT, it's a smashing card as well, So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just going to go through a couple more things. We've got Michael Casper and also Bad Egg 99 also joining at tier 1. Thank you very much, guys. I'll give you guys this shout out when you come in, just as a thank you. It's not much of a thank you, just to shout your name out and be like, "Good job, you did it." But thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. And it's also nice to
Yep.
see, it's edifying to see that people want to actually do it.
Yeah, I appreciate you all. You're all magnificent, and also like even for the people who are not joining, you're also appreciated just by being here. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I just
Yeah.
meant that in the sense of people
yes.
still want to actually give money.
Yes.
What on earth?
Jovka Janjik, sorry if I'm butchering your name, I almost certainly am, just soldered a USB cable to a previous HP laptop webcam that you yanked out of it. Works like a charm for no euros. That sounds cool. Reusing laptop webcams is an idea that I've wanted to experiment with for a while, because there are some laptops where the webcam ain't half bad in it. There are some good laptop webcams out there. And yeah, you could probably make yourself a really nice compact little webcam out of it. So yeah, good job, smashing. Then what else did we have? We've also just suddenly had Sam and Prime Redux joining as well. Thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. Let me see. You may order 2 6800 XTs and 2 3080s, and so far one of each turned up. So yeah, they are out there. Yeah, it definitely is just a luck of the draw.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Also, just rolling back slightly, around to it said you'll have to show how to do the Amazon Twitch thing. You went onto Twitch and had no idea what you were doing. So
that would actually be a really good shilling video.
I don't know if I've got it in me to make a video explaining how to give me your money.
You entirely should.
Yeah,
entirely should.
I'd have to buy like a big novelty gold chain, like rapper necklace, the whole, like with a heckin' big old stopwatch on it or something like that, just to go maximum self-awareness.
I thought you were going to say you'd have to go for the big fake glasses with the fake bushy eyebrows and the fake moustache, put a hat on and just be like, "Hello, I am not Graham."
Yeah, I am someone else shilling for Graham. Okay, yeah, well, you've got to, so you need to sign up on Twitch. And can you even log into Twitch with an Amazon account? You need to tie your Twitch and Amazon accounts together. I can't remember how you do it because it's been so long since I did it.
I'm now legitimately actually just looking at Twitch.
Yeah. We'll get back to you on that one. Because I'm like, it's the Twitch Amazon bit that I'm like, I've never actually had to do that before because I had an old original Twitch account and then I joined it. And I don't know if you have to join them anymore or whether you just sign in with your Amazon login now. But yeah, you also need to add your Twitch to your Discord account, which you do in your Discord options.
I also think possibly it's something to do with Prime Gaming, and you have to link your Prime Gaming account.
Yeah, that's the one.
The only way I've seen of doing that is by if you've got sort of an old style Twitch account before this all happened, like mine is you get a notification for Prime Gaming loot. Click on any of them to do it, and it will say, "Do you want to link your Amazon and Twitch account?"
Okay, yeah.
and do it there.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, yeah.
I'll have to, I'll have to have a look at this later. That might be a question just to ping me in the Discord about or something like that to get back to me on that one. Because,
And
yeah,
then
as
there'll
I
be
say,
a video upload.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But yeah, as I say, ping me in the Discord or something for that one, and I'll be able to check in on it. Because, as I say, that's one of those things where I'm just like, I can't remember this process well enough to say it live on stream without having it in front of me. So yeah, I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna have to get back into the chat. Sorry, I just saw one that says, "Carol, needs to turn your mic 180 degrees." Yeah, it looks like the. Okay, yeah, no, it was the correct way around. I thought so. It looked like there was an LED on the back of the mic, and I was like, has he actually got his mic the right way round? There's no way he's that dumb. Now he's broken everything and he has to mute. So well done, you broke Caradog's mic. However, yes, it was the right way around, but I absolutely agree with you. It did look like the LED was on the back of the mic. So yes, agreed. Let's see. Even low-end stuff is hard to order. Really? That's nuts. Nivian and Dark Minion, thank you very much for the membership joins. Much appreciated. Everyone is becoming a member now. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shout-outs today, I think. But yeah. Right, let's see. In Twitch, under Settings, there's a Connections, and you connect your Amazon account there. Oh, there we go. That might be the one, Irish Bull. So yeah. Right, let's see. Have we got any tech questions that I can jump to there?
Hello again. I was going to say, possibly the thing that makes it difficult is that there is a silver switch just here that selects the pickup pattern, and that's catching the light from there.
That's what people are saying. It's a terrible time for part failures. The cooler of your small form factor 970GX died. Yeah. It's a weird thing at the moment where with the amount of parts shortages there is, I'm surprised I haven't had more issues finding stuff. Thankfully, so far, most stuff is just, laptop repairs or, you're able to fix what the customer already has. But,
It seems that certain parts, cause like Noctua just vanished from everywhere for about 2 months. Their own eBay page had nothing. Amazon UK had nothing. Amazon Germany had nothing. Scan had nothing. And it was just like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just mad that they just completely vanished from everywhere. And there seemed to be no official comment from anyone about any of it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's just like lots of what people want to know is just like, what is the hold up? Like, if the hold-up is just literally, we are making them, we just literally cannot make as many as we are selling, then fine. Just say that to people. Or if there is a hang-up where you're just like, we're unable to get the metal to make our heat sinks, then you say, we can't get the metal to make our heat sinks, therefore our production is down. That is why there are none. This is when, and you say either this is when we anticipate getting more material, or this is when we anticipate being able to ramp up again, or something like that. I think the most frustrating thing is that the only speculation is just that speculation. It's just rumors on why stuff doesn't exist or anything like that. So yeah, and like, again, it's I don't know. Like I'm thinking about the fact that, as I say, everyone is saying that Nvidia are going to restart production on the Pascal cards, and apparently that's going to take the form of like 1050 Ti's or something like that. And I'm like, well, that'll be better than nothing. But let me tell you this: that 1050 Ti better be £150 tops, and that's generous. Like that,
I don't
like that.
Well, in a sense, that's not up to them, is it?
Yeah, I know.
Because
but
if 1,000 people want to buy 500 graphics cards, the 500 who spend the most money will get them.
Yeah, I think my issue is that I think the only thing that could possibly make this situation worse is seeing Nvidia start making 1050 Ti's, and suddenly the 1050 Ti is worth £200 to £250, and you're just like, oh, are you joking?
But it will be though, It will be, because that will
It's
be
the
all the
all you can
that will be
buy.
the thing that will be insignificant volume, and it will be initially,
Yeah.
because everyone who's been like, I just need a graphics card, will buy whatever's in stock at whatever price it is.
Mm.
So yeah, and it's fun. I haven't studied Nvidia's back catalog to see if there's something else, but as far as I'm aware, the 1050 Ti is the fastest graphics card they can sell that doesn't require GDDR5X or 6 or
That's
HBM
why they're
or
not
anything like that.
doing. Yeah, is that why they're not doing any of the more exotic older cards? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
like
why they're not doing
my
like a 1066 gig
yeah,
or
because
anything.
that was the first thing that jumped to my mind when I heard them saying that it was going to be a 1050 Ti. I'm just like, really? That's the one you're bringing back? Like, don't get me wrong, the 1050 Ti was great for what it was at the time.
Yeah,
There's a reason why it's a very popular graphics card. It's a good graphics card. For those of you
yeah,
who are not sure, as I said earlier on, the 1050 Ti, it kind of trades blows with a 960. However, a 1060 will spank it. So that gives
mm,
you a rough idea on what we're looking at here. And part of me is just like, oh come on, bring back the 1060 or something like that, because the 1060 was a cracking graphics card.
mm. Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, as said, if they need exotic stuff like if they can't get the memory or something like that, then there's no point in trying to make that graphics card, because then you'll just run into supply issues with something else and just
Yeah, exactly. Because it shares memory usage with 1660s and things like that. It's an issue there.
yeah, it will draw manufacturing away from the cards that they are trying to ease the pressure on. So yeah, I'm assuming that because it's an old process as well, they can probably get any old Tom, Dick, or Harry who's got a fab to manufacture it as well, instead of getting someone who's already overwhelmed to do it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's a case of I'm just actually double checking what process node it's built on. Oh, it's 14 nanometer. Yes, so 14 nanometer isn't particularly new or fangled. So it's a case that they can get almost any foundry will be able to
yeah,
make 14 nanometer, because Glowflow stopped at 14. Samsung can do down to 8.
yeah.
TSMC can do 7 and
Because
5.
and I think that's the thing, is
Intel
that's
can
the
do
angle of this,
10.
because when you hear that they're going to
Yeah,
start making the 10 series, your first reaction is just like, really, is that what this has come to? But the more you look into it, the more you're like, actually, this kind of makes sense. As I mean, yes, it's a desperate act, but it is a desperate act that actually makes sense,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
they can do it while they're trying to fix everything else. Chris Kingan gave into pressure, and you've got a 6900 XT arriving on Monday. Yeah, you're not the only person I know who ended up going down that route. Because that's the thing. The 6900 XT and the 3090, they're not too hard to find. They're not good value for money. However, if you've got the money to splash out on that, you do get a top-end graphics card on your doorstep tomorrow. So, I don't blame you, quite frankly. And Nvme Ssd, thank you very much for joining as well. So, yeah. And apparently there's 1050 Ti's going for, did I see $300 on Amazon US?
Yeah, about that. So
Yeah.
it's a case of, obviously, if
And
they come in and start getting sold at launch MSRP, launch MSRP was $200, $220. So even if they come in at that price, that's
yeah,
still a $70 saving, $80 saving over
yeah.
current sale prices. So it's
See,
still reasonably good value, even if it's at
well,
four-year-old MSRP,
yeah, I think,
because how much it's reducing the current prices. That's the
yeah.
thing it needs to be compared to. It's not what it used to sell for, but what the current sell price of everything is.
Yeah, because the thing is I'm like, um, it does it doesn't help. I mean, that is helpful if you need to build, but like if someone was building a new gaming PC and they were like, I need to get a graphics card for it, and they were faced with the prospect of spending, say, £250 or $300 on a 1050 Ti, again, I'd be like, no, I'd just wait, because that's the thing, is just, again, I said the 1060 is a cracking graphics card, but these days we're seeing the limitations of the 1060. And as I mentioned, the 1060 spanks a 1050 Ti. So it's a case of, you're spending a reasonable amount of money on, what was a reasonable graphics card 4 years ago, but these days you're buying something that is obsolete on arrival. So even if it's all you can get, that doesn't mean you should buy it. But on the other hand, if, as Caradog says, it weakens the price inflation by flooding the market with something that is stable, then that might be the benefit of it.
It's also the other point to make is that whilst it's arguing semantics, none of this is scalping. None of this is scalping, because it is not essential goods. Scalping specifically is defined as buying up essential goods and reselling them for more.
Yes, true.
And
okay.
It's a case of, whilst yes, it's a semantic, it's a case that
it's not illegal.
Kind of should. Well, not that. I'm not making that. It's a case of, don't forget that these are graphics cards.
Yeah.
It's a computer. Whilst, yes, it's super annoying, all of the things that is happening, it's a case that don't get super het up and super worked up about it.
Yeah, that's
super
true.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Go be pissed at people selling stuff at 6 times the MSRP, sure, but don't let it ruin your day, your week, your month, or maybe even your year.
Yeah. Yep, fair enough. Yep. I can agree with that one.
But yes. The newest card that uses GDDR5 from Nvidia is a 1650, but a 1650 uses TSMC's 12nm process. So bringing it back, shipping it in more volume isn't possible because TSMC doesn't have the capacity for wafers.
Yeah.
Whereas Samsung 14 probably does.
Yeah, that's true. Also, Rurutu just pointed out, perhaps what you're describing there, Caradog, is price gouging, not scalping. Price gouging is what the term is for necessary items, isn't it? Yeah, I think they're right.
I thought the case that scalping specifically required it to be a.
I think that it's price gouging is specifically for necessary items.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Like bottled water in the middle of an earthquake kind of thing. That's price gouging, which is actually illegal. Whereas scalping is just when you buy up all of the available stock of a high demand item with intent to resell it at vastly inflated cost. So yeah. However, your point about it being just a graphics card still stands. I do agree about that. And it's easy to say when we're not the ones who are desperate to get a graphics card. However, sometimes we have to maintain perspective of, is this the worst thing that can happen to you today? So yeah, I do agree with that.
Absolutely. But yes, it's a case that specifically for that, it's there is no requirement for any of this to be fair or reasonable or anything like that.
True.
Ultimately, it's just a case of people will pay whatever price it is to buy the thing that they want to buy.
Yeah, this is the free market being the free market. It's just unfortunate that things are currently in a extreme instance of that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Very well. And also the news of crypto miners buying up all of the new gaming laptops as well. Man, that's kind of mind blowing. I cannot believe that is economically viable. But if that's what they're doing, then I'm sure they'd crunch the numbers on that.
Probably.
But, yeah.
Or a case of or a case of not necessarily economically viable, specifically in the sense of turning a profit on the item through the mining of cryptocurrencies, but possibly a case of obviously they know that they can buy up all of the laptops, mine cryptocurrency on them, and as the price starts to decrease, they can then sell all of them,
Yeah.
lose a very small percentage on the price of the actual item, have made the money with the crypto, and also the power usage of the entire laptop will be much less than the power usage of a GPU.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it's
fair.
kind of a case of loads of those things.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they do resell the laptops, buyer beware. Interesting. Yeah. Oh well.
I feel like at most, though, it's kind of going to be a case of, oh no, I had a fan that died.
Possibly,
Guess
yeah. I have always
that's a
questioned, like,
monitoring device.
everyone is terrified of a card that has been used for mining, but I do question how much of a problem that actually is in the real world.
I mean, look at my two 980s.
Oh, that's a good point. Your two 980s, yeah.
They ran folding at home since the day I bought them.
Which is just as
Every
bad
day.
as mining. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of them still. What? Where's the other one? Because I've got one of them. Have you got the other?
No, it's
Oh yeah, it went to a friend,
an
didn't
upgrade.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, yeah, both of those graphics cards, they have been thrashed since new, still going strong. So yeah.
Yeah. And whilst obviously, again, that's a case of plural of anecdote is not data.
Yeah.
But it's still a case that I can't tell any difference between those cards and an otherwise brand new factory sealed one. So it's kind of a case of I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for. So it's like a fan died on it, stick a new fan on it. Fans can die within 2 months of having a card. Anyway, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, fair. Cool. Right, I'm going to catch up on a couple of questions that have popped up in chat. A couple of people have asked about soldering iron comparisons and stuff like that. I have not done the comparison between my TS100 and the Pine 64 Pinesil that I've bought yet. I haven't done it yet, although I did fire up the Pinesil for the first time this week and gave it a use, and I was like, it's a soldering iron. Does soldering iron stuff. Cool. It felt just like using my TS100. I will do a proper review video of it as soon as I get around to it, although that's going to wait until I'm in the new shop now. I've put that in the box of, this is going to the new shop, I'll look at it next week. Or rather, in 2 weeks kind of thing. So yeah. However, I am getting on with it. For the person who said, I've got a TS80, should I upgrade to a TS100? My answer to that is the TS80 doing what you need it to do? Because the only advantage to a TS100 is the fact that you can plumb the TS80, I think, is 40 watt iron, whereas the TS100 is a 65 watt iron. However, the interesting thing is that the TS100 will only actually draw 65 watts when it's at full tilt at like between 20 and 24 volts. If you're running it at less than 20 volts, a la from a laptop charger or a 4-cell LiPo battery, it won't actually pull 65 watts. In which case, it drops down to like 40 or 45 watts anyway. And I most of the time am using this at 19.5 volts because I run mine on a laptop charger. Yeah, as I say, I need to do an absolute confirm on this, but certainly if I hook this up to, I need a calculator just to double check, but if I hook this up to my bench power supply and run it at like 19 volts, I don't think I've seen it go past maybe 2.5 amps, which would be 47.5 watts. So like topping out at 50. And obviously to get to 65, at say 20 volts, so 65 divided by 20, you'd need to be pulling like 3.25 amps, and I don't think I've seen it go past 3 amps. So as I say, that's the funny thing, is when a lot of people running TS100s, like, this is not something I considered until I was experimenting with the Pinesil the other day. I think a lot of people running these aren't actually running them at 65 watts. They're probably only getting about 45 out of them. And if that's working for you, then so yeah. But if you're going to work on some big ground planes and you're having major issues with heat soak and you're like, oh, come on, maximum temperature, let's go, boys. if you're struggling with that TS80, then obviously the TS100 would allow you to say, right, we're putting this on a 24-volt supply, 24 volts, 3.25 amps, let's go, full fat, 65 watts.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's the TS80 is 18 watts.
18.
Yeah, because
What?
it's USB-C only, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's power delivery
So
though. You can
it's quick charge. No, it's quick charge.
really. I thought
Yeah.
it was like 40 watts.
No.
It's only 18.
Yeah. And in 2 different reviews I've quickly skim read through, the person basically said, yes, there's a difference in the power between the TS80 and the TS100. It is not 3 times.
Oh,
It is
my.
maybe half. It's maybe 50% more power in feel kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's a case where
that's
actually the
interesting.
power
Okay.
doesn't make a huge difference in, they were saying we were using them on 18-watt supplies.
Yeah.
Compared to a 60-watt peak supply for the TS100, and we didn't really notice much different.
Ah, interesting. Okay,
Just,
well, in that case, I withhold judgment until I'd actually tried that myself. I would have to
absolutely.
I would have to try and reproduce that somehow, maybe by underrunning my TS100 and just limiting it down to about 20 watts or something, and seeing how badly that affects the recovery time on it.
I would imagine that because of the style of tip, because it's all heating in the tip and stuff, you could probably go down to like 18 watts and go, fair enough.
It's going to be in the recovery.
The heat is so much more
direct.
Because the heat is so much more direct and close to the end that it's kind of a case of actually less power is needed because we're not wasting 90% of it like on the old
that's right,
ones.
Yeah. So yes, I agree with that. So that's interesting. Yeah, I thought the TS80 was like 40 watts, but so you might see an improvement. Well, I will rephrase that. It sounds like there is an improvement. I wouldn't bother changing it unless you are struggling with the TS80 though. Like if you're actually finding you do not have enough heat, like you're constantly finding that you're going in to solder something and the solder is going and hardens. If you stick your iron on the surface and the solder just ain't going in there, kind of thing. If that is happening to you, you need more power. But I don't know if I'd go to a TS. As I say, I don't think I would go to a TS100 today from a TS80. I would look at some of the third-party ones because, like I said, stuff like the Pine 64 PineSil, it gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you 65 watts. USB Type-C power delivery and barrel jack input. It gives you the best of everything. You get all of it. And that's why when I do this comparison review video, I'm expecting to favor that iron, not because it's actually any better on the bench, but because it's much more flexible in what you can do with it.
Right. Yes, there is as a couple of people have said in the chat, there is a TS80 and there is a newer version called the TS80P. The TS80P supports power delivery 2.0, which allows you to go up to 30 watts.
That's probably where I got the higher power from. I mean, 30 watts is still not...
The TS80 specs, specifically from the Miniware website, say 18 watt, and the TS80P 30 watt.
Yeah. I mean, 30 watts is still not mind-blowing, but that's probably enough, based on the reviews, that's probably enough to make up the perceived difference. But again, it's going to depend on when you hit a big ground plane and your soldering iron looks like it's just gone. When you hit a big ground plane, it's like your iron isn't even turned on, and you'll know when it happens. And if that's happening to you, you need a bigger soldering iron. If it never happens to you, then no problems, I guess. So I would not expect a bigger soldering iron to change your world unless you're actually hitting that problem, basically. Let's see. Andreas Seagal, thank you very much for the 550 euros. Much appreciated. That's soldering irons there, I guess. Let me see.
Today
what else
I learned that Miniware make mini oscilloscopes as a kit.
Oh, that's interesting. That sounds kind of neat.
single, dual, and quad channel ones as well,
Yeah. Does it
and
say?
logic analyzers.
Yeah. Does it say what bandwidth the mini scope has?
Input signal generator? No.
I'm interested to see whether it's one of the toy pocket scopes. You
Max
know.
sample rate is 10 MSA per second. Analog bandwidth 1 megahertz. Max sample
Ah.
memory depth 8K.
1 megahertz, yeah, yeah. So it's a toy basically,
Mm.
just like the same as the pocket scope, the two pocket scopes that I have. They're good if you're getting started and you just want to look at PWM signals and stuff like that. But if you want to do anything serious, it will just not do it. So yeah,
Yeah, it's all. They seem to be all 1 megahertz.
yeah. I'm not interested in buying a new scope until I can get a 100 megahertz or higher scope, and that's just, and obviously big expensive ones are going up into the 500, 1 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz range kind of thing. So yeah, as I say, 1 megahertz is basically a toy. Which is a shame, because if they said it like, oh, it's 50 megahertz or something like that, I'd have been like, oh, you know what, that might be worth a look as a possible cheap scope. But yeah. Let's see. Is the USB Type-C port more breakable than USB Micro or Mini? I don't think so. I think USB-C is pretty tough. However, this came up in a comment on the Switch video where someone said, oh, do you find that USB Type-C ports break a lot? And my response on that comment was words to the effect of, give the customer any port and they will find a way to break it, basically. I think Type-C is really tough. I think it's a lot tougher than Micro or Mini. But people will find a way to break stuff, especially when kids are involved. Kids just break stuff. Because with the best will in the world, they don't know any better. They don't know that you can't just keep jamming the connector in, day out. That will eventually wreck the port, So yeah, Micro kind of got a bit of a bad rep because it was supposed to be an expendable port, but they ended up min-maxing the cost of the port so much that it ended up being too weak. The cable was supposed to be the weak point in Micro, so the cable broke really easily, not the port. But as I say, China's going to China, and they min-maxed the cost of the port down to the point where it was too easy to break anyway. And in a way, similar things are happening with USB Type-C, just not as badly because it's a physically larger connector, which inherently makes it stronger. So...
It looks like Miniware make one which is 8 megahertz. Which is obviously slightly better, but
yeah.
I can't find it for sale either on Banggood or AliExpress.
Yeah,
so it
don't think
basically doesn't exist is the answer to that one.
Yeah, I mean, like for logic analyzing and stuff like that, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
If you're making widgets and you're fiddling about with, and if you're making widgets and you're dealing with, Raspberry Pis and Adafruit gadgets and stuff like that. You're on that scene, Arduino, that kind of thing. That's probably okay. And you're developing a widget. However, if you're actually trying to do science, that's not going to be enough.
You can buy I presume, a cheap model, Rigol 100 megahertz scope for 230 quid. Oh.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't know why you wouldn't just buy one of them.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm probably going to buy. I can't remember who it was. I need to dig through my DMs, but someone clued me into one of them. Might have even been the Rigol, where they said, this one is 100 megahertz and super cheap, and there is an easy-to-do hack that will unlock 200 megahertz on it as well. And immediately I was like, oh yeah, that's almost certainly the one I'm going to buy in that case. I'm going to buy one of them and hack it up to 200 megahertz and have a reasonable scope kind of thing. I can't remember if it was the Rigol or a Siglent, but it was. It might have been a Keysight. I'm just listing oscilloscope brands now, but it was one of the mainstream ones, one of their low-end models. It was a known darling and had known hacks available for it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, or if you wanted to buy
DS1054, that sounds familiar. That might have been it.
Yeah, or if you wanted to buy just a 2-channel, 200 megahertz one, they're like £300.
Oh
They
yeah,
are nowhere near as expensive as I thought they were. This
there
is
are.
eBay prices, but
Yeah,
still,
they
the
have come
bottom
down in
tier
price.
ones, yeah,
Yeah,
so much cheaper than I was
yeah.
expecting.
You used to have to go in with 400 or 500 quid in mind to get a scope that actually had a decent brand name on it and didn't
Mm,
have a screen the size of your phone.
mm,
Whereas now there are actually a couple of sort of educational ones out there that are specifically designed for schools and stuff, where they're like, okay, let's just put on what's needed, not what the top end want, and make it affordable.
yeah,
So yeah, because obviously, if you tell a school that they've got to buy 100 of these, at $700 a shot, they'll just fall over. So
yeah, absolutely.
right, what was that one? Hang on a sec. Where's the chat gone? DS1054. I just want to search my
Oh, that seems to
DMs.
only be a 50 megahertz one.
1054. Damn it, can't find it. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look. Someone mentioned it to me. I've got it somewhere. I'll find it again.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It's the other thing as well is the like the thermal cameras where they kind of restrict the features and stuff, and then you go, ah, yes, but you've literally used the same sensor chip as the more expensive model. Let's
yeah,
just flash it with the more expensive model's software.
yeah.
Ta-da!
That sounds kind of interesting because I still need to buy a thermal camera as well.
Mm.
So yeah, and I still haven't done. Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to get an old cat phone or something like that, but also I have a suspicion that I've probably waited long enough that you can buy that there are cheap flares. There are cheap flares available now.
Yeah. I don't know. It
Um,
depends on whether it's French or not, doesn't it? I guess.
yeah, so I might just bite the bullet and buy the real deal kind of thing. Um, but yeah, the thing is I don't need it very often. But I get this is the point of the new shop though. The whole point of the memberships and the Patreon and the funding is that instead of me being a tight ass and going, do I really need this? It is going, no, I am being funded. We will buy this and we will show people how to use it. That is the point. So yeah, I will probably buy one. So yeah,
That's cool.
what you found?
The Fleur 1 is the add-on module to most phones.
Yeah.
There's now a Gen 3 version apparently, and it's £216.
That's very reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know
they
if I want it as a.
specifically show
Mm,
they specifically show on the artwork for it with it working with a Pixel 3. So I'm just like, cool.
yeah. I
That
don't know
sounds
if I
better.
want it as a phone add-on per se, but on the other hand, though, yeah.
Well,
The
considering the
reason
Pixel
no.
3, if you bought just a Pixel 3, it's like £100.
Yeah, I remember now. The reason why I had an issue with that was that I was looking at second-hand ones, and they would have been micro USB, and I'm like, oh, that would lock me into small, old or low-end phones. Whereas if you can get a brand new one for just over £200, that's going to be Type C on there. So obviously that means you've got forward support for it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
that's absolutely viable now.
Yeah. I can't remember what resolution it says it is.
Yeah. To be
But
honest, the resolution isn't turbo important.
oh no, it's purely a
Hmm.
case of I'm just
Oh
wondering
yeah,
what kind of resolution we're up to
yeah.
these days.
Because the like a lot of people who are resistant to getting thermal cameras, myself included, are just like, oh, the resolution is pap anyway. You won't see anything. But it's just a case of it doesn't have to get you down to the single component that's failed. It just has to tell you roughly where the
Yeah.
hotspot is. Once you
It's
know like which quadrant the hotspot is in on the motherboard that you're doing injection on, you can probably find it at that point. But when you actually first switch on the power supply and you're waiting for it to heat up, you've got no idea where the heat will be.
yeah.
Whereas having a thermal camera that can just be like, it's somewhere down there, immediately will just allow you to then go, all right, finger touch, there it is, So yeah,
80 by 60 is the thermal resolution of
80
it.
by 60, yeah.
Which is I remember when I can't remember who it was was getting super excited. This was someone I knew on the business park near to you.
Mm.
They had just bought their brand new thermal camera. It's saying like £12,000 or £13,000. And it
Yeah.
has a resolution of something like 60 by 40.
Yeah. That's the
And it's
thing.
just like, it's kind of where we've come from.
There are certainly certain fields where thermal imaging cameras are absolutely invaluable, you know, and there are ways around it in repair. There are alternative methods you can use for finding short circuits and stuff like that. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing that they're actually affordable. And by affordable, you know, we're talking about having a thermal imaging solution for, say, £300 with a second-hand Pixel 3 and a and the FLIR one. Or hell, I could plug that into my actual just main use phone anyway. I would rather have a dedicated phone for it instead of having to get out my personal mobile phone to use it. However, hypothetically, I could buy it for 200 and have thermal imaging in my hand. That's space age. That is. That's futuristic technology.
I want that. I have zero use for it, but I want it.
Yeah.
And also, especially the fact that it effectively counts as thermal night sight.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
You literally slap that on your phone, you stick it on your phone, and you walk outside with it. You can see in the dark.
And then you tape that onto your airsoft gun and you go to a night fight, you know.
That wasn't what that. Yes, that was where I was going, but
yes,
no,
I thought so.
Specifically verbalize it.
Michael Pilgard, thank you very much for joining as a member. Welcome on in, much appreciated. Let's see. SKM, I got one with 32 by 32, very usable for repair, and just 130 USD camera. That's interesting. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, again, it's just got to tell you roughly where it is to get in there. Yeah. Let me see. What webcams are we both using on this broadcast? I am on my Logitech Brio, which is the main desk cam that I use. And Caradog, are you on your Logitech? What are you on today?
No, I'm using a Pixel 3.
You're on your Pixel 3, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the actual stream is being horrifically compressed by Discord.
Yes, Discord mangles the picture, which is why Caradog looks terrible and I look passable. So yes, that was Caradog saying, this looks a lot better on my preview than what you guys see. And that makes me very, very sad. So
it also looks an awful lot better just in normal voice calls to people when we're not streaming it. I think Discord's kind of gone, oh, there's uploads. Let's just nuke the bandwidth.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Don't know. Also, maybe it's just the way I'm doing the window capture as well, because I have what I do is I have we're in a Discord call and I've clicked on pop out on the call, then maximize the window. So I have Caradog's webcam view not full screen, but maximized window. And then I'm window capturing that in OBS. Because as far as I can tell, that's the most effective way to do this. And the only other way that could be done is for Caradog to set up is if we do some kind of bizarre RTMP relay.
I was literally about to say, next time, RTMP streaming just direct to OBS.
I mean, if we were being pro about this, that would be a sensible thing to do. And I would say, let's actually do this. But, you know, quality isn't really what this podcast is about, is it? So
it's just about mostly making it work.
Yeah. The other thing as well is obviously I've got 2 key lights on me as well, whereas Caradog has got 1 key light and a desk light, I think, haven't you?
Kind of, basically.
Yeah. So lighting helps a lot.
There is a panel light to my right, which, if I do this, you can see. And then there's the light here, which is actually 4 lights. There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights. Let's see. And get a macro lens for the Seeks. DeWalt phone for thermal is the cheap way to go. Yeah. Or the cat phone. Yeah.
They make a phone?
Apparently.
Or
unless the cat is what Sean Modo was thinking of. I hadn't heard that DeWalt had made one. It wouldn't surprise me. Like I can't be bothered to Google that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, because Cat made one, and it would just be the thing to do for a load of other tool manufacturers to be like, hey, that's a good idea. Let's make a phone for builders. Because builders do actually need a specialist phone, because building site wrecks phones.
Basically looks identical to the Cat phone, just with DeWalt printed on it instead.
It's a rebrand, isn't it? I'm guessing.
And it's got Android 6. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah. However, all it's got to do is survive a building site, because, building sites destroy phones.
Absolutely. But if you're using it for anything, it's a old version of Android.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. Oh,
Gross.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
But yes, also DeWalt's website is insecure, so of course it is.
Oof. That's a big oof today. Don't have a website that doesn't have SSH on it. You can have... SSH is free to implement.
SSH?
Sorry, SSL. Yes, SSL. You know what I'm talking about. HTTPS is free to implement. If your website doesn't have it, I will not take you seriously. Get it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. My website is awful, and I've got SSL enabled. So, yeah.
Yay!
I spotted... Oh, yeah, OBS Ninja. What's that? OBS Ninja, bring live video from your smartphone or friends directly into OBS Studio. Oh, interesting. That might be worth looking into. I need to see exactly how to bring remote videos into OBS. That sounds exactly like what we're looking for. I'll leave that tab open and check into it and see what we can do with that. Because as I say, if it's a simple solution, because also Discord is a little bit janky anyway. But yeah, if that might be a good idea. I'll check into that. Thanks for the tip. Physically, how far apart are we? 15 miles?
26 miles door to door.
26? Is it that far?
26 miles door to door.
Wow. I thought it was closer than that. Oh, no, it's 15 down to the midpoint, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, not quite midpoint because it's 15 miles.
Well, the town that's roughly halfway between us, but not actually. Anyway. Shut up. Sorry, it may have been Cat. Well, apparently DeWalt make one as well. Let's see. John Meeks. Graham, I'm new here. I've got a question for you. I've been having a problem with 10 in File Explorer. Every time I do a Windows update, I usually lose my Explorer. Do a build update. Use the Windows Media Creator tool to download the latest version of Windows onto a flash drive. Then run setup.exe off of that flash drive. This will do an inline update that installs the latest build of Windows on top of your existing install. It preserves data, it preserves your apps so you don't lose any of that, and it will fix lots of minor gremlins in Windows. That's what I would do for that, and go from there. The 1050 Ti is back. Now we've just got to wait for the PCI cards. Oh no.
Surely it'd be AGP next.
Well, ironically, PCI lasted longer than AGP did. So, yeah. Let's see. OBS Ninja is what Barnacules is using. Okay, interesting. Or use the Update Assistant. I don't like the Windows Update Assistant. It seems to take a very long time to do anything. Whereas making up a Windows 10 flash drive and just running setup.exe off of it seems to do exactly the same thing in half the time, in my experience. However, do whatever works. You know, if time is not a factor, it doesn't matter how long it takes as long as it fixes the problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. You got a question about blue screen ntfs.sys. That sounds like a failing hard drive, my dude. Failing hard drive or a failing SSD. Because ntfs.sys is the file system driver. If you've got problems with your file system, the drive is probably failing. That would be my guess. Let's see. Got an RX 580. It's old, but at least it's working. Hey, the RX 580 and the RX 570, they've done fairly well for themselves. You know, both of those cards are punching around the 1060, the 1060 area, and the 1060 is still doing well. I've got a couple of friends, and my girlfriend has a 1060 in her computer, and so far it still runs everything she throws at it. I mean, she's only 1080p gaming, you know. It will probably be struggling if you were trying to 1440p. However, for 1080p gaming, yeah, those cards are still doing just fine. How often do I get machines with a 3.5 floppy drive in? If I saw a machine with a 3.5 floppy, I'd probably say, no, it's too old, we can't fix that here.
Interestingly,
What you got?
shockingly, the 580 is fractionally faster than a 1066 gig.
Yes, because the 570 trades blows with the 1060, as far as I know.
It just surprised me that it was fractionally faster.
Yeah, the 580 it's a good card. Probably
higher.
Double. Yeah, yeah. The 580 it's a good card. I think the RX 500 series got a lot of flack because it was kind of it was a rebrand of a rebrand of a rebrand. But they're good cards. They do the job.
Yes. So this is from Anantex figures, using Shadow of the Tomb Raider, RX 580, 241 watts.
Yeah.
1066 gig, 164.
Yeah, so yeah, almost double. Almost double. Yeah.
Oh dear. That's kind of a bit mad.
God, 261 watts. Like that's 241. Yeah, still, it just as soon as you go over 200, you're into big boy territory there. You actually need to up spec your power supply to compensate for this territory. You know.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest of oofs. Pascal is still great for 1080p. Yeah. Even a 780 is still good for 1080p medium. Yeah. Like a lot of that's the problem. Like these days I'd be going, whenever people say they've got old stuff, I'm like, man, just replace it, just upgrade. But like right now, you can't. So this really is becoming a test of, how bad is the old stuff, and is it actually, can we actually tolerate this?
Yeah, you could get a 2060 Super, and it would use less than 9 watts more.
Oof.
And you're going from 40 FPS to 64 FPS.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad that the latest generation of everything is going back into power hungry land. Like I know that it comes and goes in waves. We go through cycles of prioritizing performance and then maintaining performance, but at much lower power usage. And I know that comes and goes in cycles, but even still, it is kind of like it's really nice having performance at low power usage.
Yeah, it's I think the thing that's kind of a funny point though, with the 5700 XT compared to a 6800 XT.
Yeah.
The 6800 XT is 50% more FPS per watt.
Oh yeah.
50% more.
That's a good point.
It's either 50% faster or it's double and a half faster per watt. So it's like the actual raw frame rate efficiency has gone up massively.
Just because it's using more power overall doesn't make it less efficient.
Yeah, it's actually more efficient because of how big the performance gain is.
Yeah,
so it's just
that's a fair play.
Damn. So it's a case of obviously you could do, if you wanted to, is you could drop the power target slider down by 50%, still have better performance and have even more performance per watt comparison. So it's kind of, it's just that I think the only time that you really care is when you're buying a power supply, because electricity's kind of cheap still.
Yeah, relatively. Yeah, it's I think it's good to be conscious about the amount of power you're using, but at the same time, a lot of the time, the difference between a the difference in power usage between an inefficient system and an efficient system is not enough to save a meaningful amount of money. Like
No, it's
when
just being aware.
when I was in my my sister's house one day, and I went into their kitchen and dining room, and there were three sets of lights, three or four sets of lights, with each light having four halogen spot bulbs in it. Each one of those halogen spot bulbs would have been 50 watts. So you could literally be like 400 watts, 800 watts, 1200 watts. There is over a kilowatt of lighting in here. You could replace those with LED bulbs and cut that down to 20 watts, maybe 30 watts. Now that is going to save you a pretty penny.
Yeah.
You know, that saves a meaningful amount of money. Knocking your gaming rig from 600 watts load down to 400 watts load, that's not actually going to save you very much money per year. Even though that is a high percentage of saving, the amount of power involved anyway and the amount of on time isn't significant. So sometimes you've got to look at the use case.
Absolutely, because I replaced the bulbs in the GU10s in my bedroom a couple of weeks ago, because I suddenly just realized, oh crap, these are all 50-watt old style halogens.
Oh no.
Oh no, I have 6 of these.
Yeah.
And occasionally these lights will sit on for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
So I suddenly went from six of those to 6 LED bulbs, and each LED bulb was 3 watts.
Yeah. Exactly that. So yeah, I've got to do that in the new shop, because all the new shop has got pretty much all of the bulbs that I've seen in there are energy savers. They're archaic compact fluorescents, but they're still at least compact fluorescents. But I need to actually go through, because they're so old that they still might be like 20 watts per lamp. And there are, if there's a dozen of those lamps per room, times 2, plus the kitchen and stuff like that, I need to look at that and be like, right, what of these am I actually changing out?
Yeah, it's also the fact that the light from them is not very. It's not very.
Yeah, it's not uniform. Yeah, that's my main beef with that. Is just they're just dotted around in no particular. Someone was just like, oh, we'll put one about there. There's no. It doesn't look like there's any plan or intention for how the lighting is arranged. Yeah. So it all needs redoing.
I still maintain that you should replace them with just the 600mm panels, because you've got suspended ceilings.
Yeah. What I would like to do is, I will either replace them, or I'll put in a load of panels and just swap the wires to the panels and just leave all the other lights there and off, just so when I leave I can then just reconnect it and put it back to how it was. Because that's what I'm going to do in here. Because in here I've got my custom LED strips doing all the main lighting, and one of the jobs that I need to do at some point, not as a priority, but in the next month or so, is I need to put the fluorescent battens back up and just restore this to stock again, because I don't want to leave that custom lighting up there. So I've actually got to put back the old lamps and just put that all back to how it was, which is obviously something you've got to think about when you're renting a place. So, although that much being said, I might just put up panel lights in the new place, and if I end up leaving that place at any point, I just leave them there and be like, yeah, I replaced it with something that was better. So
given how cheap the lights are,
no one's going to care. So
well, you're not. It's more thinking about whether you're going to care, and you're not. So sufficiently cheap, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that you'll possibly need to chuck in is just where you're filming, is obviously making sure that you've got sort of 100%, or as close to CRI lights.
Yes. High CRI is underrated.
Just because those panel lights are only 80 or 90%. 80 or 90 CRI.
Yeah.
So whilst they're absolutely fine for general shop and office lighting and stuff like that, if you're filming under them, you'll want 98, 99% ones.
Yeah. I'd go for greater than 95, to be honest, because Yeah, I would imagine that when you get up to the top of the scale, the price is probably going to go whoop to get those
Well,
last couple
I
of
was thinking
percent.
more
But
like the LED tapes. Just, like the LED
yeah,
tape you've got.
yeah,
Isn't
the
that
LED tape I've
98%?
got, yeah, that's 95%,
Oh, is it?
greater
Okay.
than 95%. Yeah, and as
Oh,
I
I
say,
see. I thought it
they
was
look
rated
visibly better.
98.
The weak point is the LED batten above me, which is
Yeah.
probably I don't want to know what the CRI is on that. It's awful, whatever it is.
Yes. The CRI is yes.
Yeah, it's no. That's the problem, really,
It
isn't it?
renders
Yeah,
a color. The
yeah,
color is blue.
yeah. Just so people know what I'm talking about. Let's just switch off the key lights for a sec. So as you can see, I look significantly more gross now. So yeah,
Have you suddenly fallen ill?
yes, I have a pale pallor about me. So yeah, that's what the key lights do. Where's my coffee? Drunk is the short answer to that. I had one at the start. Looks ill now. Sad face. Let's see. But without incandescent bulbs, what are we going to use for discharging large capacitors? A big screwdriver, like a real man.
Our thumbs.
Oh no! Yeah, that's the woodcutter's approach, isn't it? Yeah, you're not a real man unless you discharge it with your tongue.
Oh Christ! No, we are not going there.
I am on tech. Thank you very much for the membership join.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated. Welcome on in. Let's see. There was a load of chatter about. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I have a random, just sort of almost sociological question. Is it weird to people to lick 9-volt batteries to see whether it's completely dead or not? I want to see what the chat says.
Sure.
Is it weird to do it?
See, for me, my response while we wait for the chat for that is, I'd be like, why the hell wouldn't you just use a multimeter like a normal person? However, of course, we have to consider the fact that not everyone just happens to have a multimeter lying around. Lots of people just don't own a multimeter. But then on the other hand, if you're the kind of person that's replacing batteries and that kind of thing, shouldn't you just have a multimeter? But I don't know, what if you're just changing your fire alarm battery or something like that, and you're like, is this thing actually toast or not? But I don't know, in my opinion, every household should have just a multimeter in the drawer somewhere, just for checking batteries and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Exactly.
Right, so we've got a resounding no, it's not weird, is what I'm understanding. Nick Benson uses steel wool. That's a fire hazard.
This is the entire response I was expecting from this audience, because I would imagine that basically everyone in the audience is in tech, related to tech, is interested in tech. I imagine if you ask the same question to 300 people on the street, they would all go, the hell are you on about?
Yeah, true.
What kind of weirdo are you?
Yeah, as I say, for me, I'm just like, in a way, I think it's weird because I'm just like, just use a multimeter. But on the other hand, I understand why you would suggest such a thing, which makes it less weird. It's, yeah.
Exactly, so it's kind of a case of, how does one lick an AA battery?
Yeah, I have to admit, I saw that as well, and that is exactly what I thought.
Unless your tongue is like 15 centimeters long, and you're just kind of like...
Who's the dude from Kiss?
I don't know.
Gene Simmons. Yeah, unless you're Gene Simmons. Yeah, Gene Simmons can do the tongue test on a size D cell.
I don't know if that's an innuendo. I feel like that's an innuendo.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about with Kiss, right? The rock band Kiss.
Yes, I am fully aware. No, it's just the fact you said, oh yes, he can do the lick test on a size D cell.
Yeah. He is known for having a long tongue, which he sticks out a lot.
Yes. He has the capacity for the old D cell mag lights.
You have to walk 10 feet to a multimeter. Your tongue is right here. Fair enough. Fair enough. You wouldn't get anything from a AA battery anyway. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Let me see. Why don't you wear headphones on the other ear too? These headphones are uncomfortable.
So you just keep shuffling it.
Yeah, so basically these headphones are uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. So what I do is I wear them on one ear, and then you may have noticed that at the start of the stream I had it on this ear, and about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes ago when I started feeling it and I was getting uncomfortable, you'll notice my ear is red. I switched out to the other ear. I have ordered a new headset. No, actually, I put in a buy it net. I put in a best offer on a headset. I should see if that's been accepted. Actually, where's the window for it?
I still need to find me a
might just
low latency
buy it now.
Bluetooth adapter.
Oh, the listing was ended by the seller because the item is no longer available. Boo. I said, oh man, I'm just going to have to buy the one that I saw on Amazon, which was £80, and it's the PS4 version, but I'm 99% certain that it'll work just fine on a PC. It's just a
I would
question of...
double check that.
My
It might be Bluetooth, because it might be Bluetooth only.
No, the PS4 version is not Bluetooth because the PS4 does not support Bluetooth audio. That's specifically why there is a PS4
sorry, the PlayStation
version.
4 one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just has a slightly different receiver box, which incidentally, what makes it the PlayStation version is the receiver box for it, or it has a USB connection, but it also has an optical input for the early PS4s that only have an optical out for audio, which is kind of weird. And I'm like, in a way,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's really useless to me, but I kind of want it anyway, just so I can be like, my headphones have an optical input that I'm never ever going to use.
Does that mean you can use both? Are you able to do both? So you plug it into USB into one computer, take the optical from another device, and then you have both.
I'm buying it just to find out. Add to basket. I'm buying this one now because I want to know that.
Want to know.
Yeah.
It does have to know.
Yep, I'm going to put that to the test. Because having headphones with multiple inputs is one of those incredibly niche things that vast majority of people will never ever use. But now and then you'll be like, man, I really need another way of getting an audio input to the headphones, and I can't do it through the PC because of reasons. Because like monitoring reasons or something like that. You know. Well, there it is. I've now ordered a Rig 800 PS4 version.
Nice.
So yes, but yes. At any rate, these headphones are hella uncomfortable. The reason why I hadn't replaced them yet, I was talking to Caradog about this before we hit the go live button. Is I was trying to decide. I was like, am I going to buy an expensive headset just for doing this podcast? And I'd hesitated on that. But I've come to the conclusion of like, I kind of want a Rig 800 anyway, because I want to try one as a daily driver, because it's a headset that I do recommend to people, because I've tried one on and found it to be very, very comfortable when I just sort of put it on. I was like, wow, that's really lightweight for a wireless headset. And one of my streamer friends has a Rig 800 and he loves it to bits. And he doesn't like headphones. He hates wearing headphones, but he gets on with his Rig 800 really well. So for that reason alone, I'm just going to buy one of these. The other reason why I hesitated as well is that really what I should be doing is sending an email to Rig saying, hey, do you want to send me one for review? And trying to get one for free. But I'm far too lazy to do that, so I'll just buy one. So yeah.
I mean, that's true. You should also do that to Logitech for basically all of their stuff.
I should. I should send an email to, like, I tried to do this with Logitech when I met one of their PR people at EGX, but they didn't get back to me. However, I had 5,000 subscribers back then. So yeah, I really should just send an email to Logitech saying, hey, I have 100,000 subscribers, well, nearly, and I exclusively use Logitech cameras right now. What can we do for each other, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Let's see. People are saying congratulations. Is that congratulations to me for buying a Rig 800? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Let's see. Love the channel, just started watching. Welcome on in, Ado. Ado, sorry. Using your someone else earlier on asked me what phone I have. I have a Huawei P20. Let's see, Sennheiser HD280 Pro with good cardioid mic. Yeah, I like wireless headsets. I hate having wired headphones, so it's Wi-Fi is the way forward for me, or wireless rather. Yes, me on my purchase. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Having glasses makes headphones 10 times worse. Yes, I know that feel with the wrong headphones. Again, that's one of the things that these ones do exasperate that a little bit, these headphones, but not terribly. It's definitely why I think I can't go for on-ear headphones, because when these headphones are pinching my ears, they are pinching them against the edge of my glasses. Whereas over-ear headphones, there's enough padding there that that you don't even notice that you've got your glasses on. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I'm just pleased I don't wear glasses for using computer and stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't need my glasses for computers because I'm nearsighted. My vision. Well, it's getting worse, to be honest. Actually, no, just looking under my glasses to the laptop screen in front of me, I'm just like, no, I'd like to have my glasses back on again. Yeah, my vision's deteriorating. So yeah, no.
You're getting old, damn it.
Well, yeah, I guess, but nah. How many subs for the silver play button? I think we're on 95,000 at the moment, so probably about 5,000 to go. I haven't looked at the estimates in a while. It's probably I reckon it's another month for 100k. But I'm not in a hurry for it because I want the shop to be ready for the 100k special. So I'm not. There have been other milestones where I'm just like, come on, nearly there. But this one, I'm like, oh, come on, just I don't mind this taking slightly longer because I'm getting something ready for it. So yeah. Let's see. Did anyone try the Amazon Basic wireless headphones? No.
Should absolutely do that.
Yeah. Amazon Basic wireless headphones. Oh, yeah, I'm looking that up. Amazon Basic wireless headphones. What do they even
look like?
Wireless.
Oh, Amazon Basics Bluetooth fitness headphones?
Yeah, it must be that.
No.
Let's see. Is Amazon Basics a brand? Can I search by brand?
Yes, Amazon Basics is a brand.
Yeah. Amazon's Choice.
Amazon Basics wireless headphones.
Not on YouTube.
They also do overhead ones and in-ear ones.
Yeah. Edo, to answer that question, we will be doing an audio-only version of the podcast when I get around to it. It's taken me 20 episodes, so 20 weeks, to get memberships active. So assume it's probably going to take at least 10 to 20 weeks for me to get around to doing the audio version, but it is a highly demanded version of the podcast. So yes, it's on the list. I'm not seeing them off the top of my head.
There's Amazon Basics over-ear Bluetooth wireless headset with micro USB and 3.5 audio cable black.
Oh, could you link me that? Could you DM that to me on Discord?
I literally just typed into the Amazon search Amazon Basic wireless headset and it came
up.
Okay. I'm amazed you're having this much difficulty.
Wireless headset. Well, I just had wireless headset in the search box. Okay, I'm getting tired.
There are direct links for you, so you can't even get it wrong.
Oh yeah. £55. Yeah, it is Bluetooth. It's basically a pair of Bluetooth headphones, though.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's just kind of a case of my concern and issue with it just is the fact that it's giving yet more money to Amazon.
Yeah.
And whilst I'm not whilst I'm not in the camp of Amazon is terrible, rampaging mess, I
Yeah.
am still a case that I just try and avoid buying from them when Scan or Overclockers or Box has the same item for like the
Yeah.
same price.
Yeah. Don't know. And also, the Amazon Basics brand itself, part of me likes it and part of me hates it because Amazon Basics is one of Amazon's more scummy divisions because they're basically looking at products that other people are selling and other products that people are selling and sell well. Amazon basically go, cool, we'll make a knockoff of that and sell it cheaper. Which is a really scummy thing to do. But the problem is some of the products that they make that are knockoffs are better. Yeah.
Like the Amazon Basics, the Amazon Basics HDMI cable.
Yeah. I've got an Amazon Basics USB cable on the camera, and the heater is an Amazon Basics heater. And I looked at all the heaters, and it had the best feature set, price, and profile. It was, all the others, I was like, that'll probably do the job. And then I saw the Amazon Basics one, and I'm like, assuming that is on the assumption that it doesn't catch fire, which so far it hasn't. That is actually the one that I'm opting for. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd use it for audio stuff though, where like sort of quality actually matters.
Yeah, I did just buy one of these from B&Q for like a £5. It's a case of it's a £5.
Yeah, sure. For £5, who cares? Yeah. Sean Modo asks, what happened to my Voids? Those are for home. I do have a Corsair Void wireless headset, and I still use it, still love it. However, that's my headset at home, which is the other reason why I was paying to buy an expensive headset, because I'm like, I already have a half-decent headset. I'm just too lazy to bring it into the shop on Saturdays. I don't like sharing equipment between at home and the shop. If I buy something for home, that's for home. If I buy something for the shop, that's for the shop. So yeah. But yes, I do still have the Voids. I still like them. Again, that's still my recommended headset. I usually say to people either, when someone's asking for a headset, I usually say Corsair Void or Rig 800. That's usually what I opt for.
Yeah.
So
it'd be good to, leverage the 1,000 subscribers to pick up a bunch of other like gaming headsets and stuff and just kind of see, are these any good?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, maybe do some polls or something, and just like if we've got a bunch, like do some snapshot polls to go, what headset have you got, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with it? And just from those two questions alone, you'd probably be able to pull up some numbers for popular headsets and the satisfaction rating of them. Because like there's going to be some headsets that are popular, but there might be some that are popular, but a lot of people are going, well, lots of people have got this, but all of them agree that it's actually a bit meh. So just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good, Right. David Starbuck, thank you very much for the join. The membership join. Much appreciated.
One of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
We are past the 2-hour marker now. The past 20 minutes have suddenly blinked by. I noticed we were coming up to 2 hours, and I was like, okay, I think we're going to start wrapping up soon. And then we just went onto a tangent about a couple of things, and now it's 20 past 2 hours. So
do you know what we absolutely should do?
What?
Is say about the junk versus useful ratio, which was the entire title of the show.
Oh yeah. That was. I forgot to talk about that. That was I put that in because it was a point of interest, because where I'm emptying out the shop at the moment, basically when I put a title on the show, it's basically just something that whatever I'm considering on that day. And today I'm considering the junk versus useful ratio of the stuff in the shop, because if you're moving house, moving flat, moving shop or whatever, when you start moving everything out, that's the point where you truly start realizing how much of your stuff that you own is junk and how much of it do you actually need. Because obviously at the moment I'm only moving stuff that I don't need to do critical operations day to day. And like I've moved out a large volume of stuff now, and it has had basically no impact on repairs. So it's just one of those interesting one of
So
those
you're going to
interesting
get rid
thoughts.
of all of the stuff you've currently moved down then?
No, because a lot of it is stuff that is not critical for current repairs, but is still like there's the demo PC and all of the review stuff and that kind of thing. So, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know. I did that with the office, because we moved part of the office around and redecorated it, and most of the stuff came back in, and now I've just created a pile on the floor of rubbish, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is going to sit here for 2 months, and if I ever dig anything out of here that I need, fine.
Yeah.
But all of it's going at the end of 2 months.
If it's still there after 2 months, it goes in the bin. Yeah.
It's all getting shipped out. It's all gone. Yeah. And it's just like, there's just so much stuff, and I'm like, I found 3 shrink wrapped boxes of floppy disks.
Oh no.
Shrink wrapped.
Yeah. Oh, I moved blank DVDs and blank CDs last night, like cake box spools of them, and I'm just like, am I keeping these?
I would do.
Yeah.
I would do, because to me, I would still have a DVD of the Windows installer for Windows 10 and just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because there are odd situations where stuff goes no to working with USB. And like there are just certain circumstances where someone's going to say, oh, can you put my pictures on a DVD or something like that?
Yeah.
And you're
I think
like, sure, drag, drop, finalize.
That's why I've kept it for this long. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Just quickly whizzing through.
Sorry, I was just going to say I should absolutely sell those floppy disks in the retro community for £10 a box, £50 a box. I don't know.
On the condition that Katrina can't buy them because they almost certainly don't need them. They've probably got too many as it is.
They're not interested. They're only the 3.5-inch ones. They really want the 8-inch ones.
Oh yeah, that's modern tech, isn't it? 3.5-inch. Yeah. Let's see. Seen the new shop vlog has no views yet. Yeah, that's just where it's just been posted up. It got posted to Patreon about a week ago or so, but there will be another shop vlog this weekend, possibly on Monday, because I've done a load of stuff, and I've been doing more bits of filming and more updates during the week. And I'm going to compile it all together into a bit of a montage of the past week kind of thing. And that should get posted on Monday-ish. So, yeah. Then also, Daniel's Game Vault asked, why don't I stream from home? Mainly just because the shop, I've got a better lighting and setup for it. I've got a basic setup at home because I do my game streams. But also, my girlfriend is at home, and if I'm streaming from home, then she basically has to just shut up for a couple of hours and stuff like that. Whereas in the shop, I could be as loud and noisy as I want. And also, I'm working here until 3 p.m. on Saturdays anyway. So it just means I'm in the shop for a bit longer before I go home. So it just works out better.
And the plan was before everything happened.
Oh yeah,
it was going to be happening from the shop with the two of us.
It will be the two of us behind the counter, yeah. And one day perhaps it will be again, yeah. And also it's familiar surroundings as well. Like, I mean, obviously where we're doing the remote call, there's less of the scenery, but the idea is it's the same counter and scenery that you're familiar with from the videos. So it's all about scenery consistency and stuff like that as well. So, right. And I think the last one, what software did I use to build my webpage? It's custom. I think it's mostly just raw HTML and CSS now with a little bit of PHP mixed into it. I've been simplifying that website every time I update it. However, it needs to be completely replaced with something entirely new.
Clearly what you need to do is you need to get a sponsor spot from Squarespace. And the advertising video you can do is you replacing your website with one on a Squarespace template.
Sure thing. And like behind the scenes, I would say to Squarespace, the conditions for me doing this is that you build it for me in Squarespace.
It has to be identical.
Yeah. Like the other thing as well is that I would bet money that that is actually the deal that Squarespace actually have with a lot of their sponsor people. Is they say sort of, they say, oh, our website was built with Squarespace. No, really. And I'm just like, no, Squarespace rebuilt your website for you for free in Squarespace. I bet that's what actually happened. Certainly, if they made that offer to me, I would gratefully accept. I would absolutely do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Oh, dear.
Right. Anyway, we should wrap up because I'm tired.
Absolutely.
What's the name of my gaming channel? I've absolutely got time for a quick shill. It's twitch.tv/Nvme.
And if you use your Amazon Prime subscription on that channel, you too will gain access to exclusive content.
There we go. I've spelt it correctly as a special treat. So yeah, and I will be streaming tomorrow evening. I'll be streaming more Nier Automata. And yes, as Caradog just said, if you subscribe to me on Twitch, you also get access to the exclusive content. So if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can subscribe for free and get the content for free. Anyway, yeah, thank you everyone. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm falling over. Yeah, we're going. Thank you everyone for
Support
tuning
links
in.
are in the video description.
Yeah, support links down below.
At some point.
Massive thank you. The exclusive content is basically the moving vlog to the new shop. You get to see all the behind the scenes stuff for the new shop. Is basically it at the moment. But yes, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for all of the memberships. We've had a ton of memberships today. Does it tell me in the stats? Yeah, we've had 13 new members today. So thank you to all the new members. And an ongoing thank you to everyone who's also subscribed to me on Twitch and on Patreon as well. Greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone else for coming. We'll see you guys next week. Same place, same time. Trying not to steal other people's catchphrases. We're going. Batman. Bye everyone. Quickly end stream.
Ciao. Toodaloo. Goodbye.